All right, so go fellas. I suppose we start with an injury perspective. Simon, will Gibbo get up?
We just got off the training floor just now, and Adam trained the session. We'll see how he pulls up, but the expectation is that he'll take his place in the team.
That's obviously a big positive. If he pulls up okay, what's the minutes would he be able to play? Is restricted because of coming off an injury, or would he be free to go? Is that the plan?
Well, he's pretty much on minutes restrictions most games anyways. So I think we'll wait and see how he pulls up, and then we'll adjudicate an appropriate amount of time for him to play. Hopefully, if we can get 20 minutes, we'll be pretty happy.
He's going well before he pinged it. Like it must be. It's nice to have him back, obviously.
Oh, look, he's great. The body's probably not as sprightly as it once was, but the IQ is through the roof. His shot-making ability is still at a really high level. I think it's probably been overlooked throughout his career is the efficiency he shoots at. He's one of the league's better shooters, and he's probably not recognised for that because he doesn't come out blazing. But when he's open and feet set, he's one of the elite shooters in the league.
How much confidence does the group take from the weekend?
I think a lot. I think we've been a bit of a slow burn. I think a lot of the teams in the league will be feeling this just with the lack of preparation or the shortened preparation and not getting as many practice games in. That we're going to start to improve on the run, and I feel like Illawarra is a little bit of a different beast than say Perth and Adelaide, where it's a little bit more of a grind. You can get up and down the floor a little bit more with them, and I think that suits us. But I feel like our strengths are going to be when we can play both styles of basketball at a high level, and I still feel like that we've got to improve our ability to grind. We've shown that we can score pretty freely, even though we haven't been at an A+ level at the offensive end. But I also feel like we're starting to show that we can defend as well. But Perth's a different challenge for us.
Interesting, like with the season's about to become really compacted. So do you get much chance to work on the other end much from a training perspective at the moment? And is that where the clock's sort of ticking as the season starts to get really jammed together?
Sorry, which end are you talking about?
You're talking about you're shooting really well, but you've got to grind things out down the other end a bit more. Is the hard part about this season at the moment, that with all the rules and stuff and the way the fixture is set up, that you don't get a lot of time really to other than playing?
Yeah, well, the defensive end's certainly been our priority since we assembled in the pre-season, and that doesn't change. I feel like we have a scoring ability that it certainly can get a lot better. I feel like our offense can flow a hell of a lot better, but I think even when we're bad, we're pretty good. We don't seem to, we played a practice game against Melbourne in the off season where we were nothing short of deplorable. We looked so disorganised, and we barely got into structure, and we still dropped 88 points, and you probably couldn't find a worse offensive performance. So our ability to score is always, I feel like, going to be there. But so we'll certainly we continue to focus at the defensive end and try to make strides at that end, and that's where we feel like if we're going to be a playoff team, then we have to make sure that we're uber elite at that end.
When you look at Perth, you played them twice, and now you get them again, and then you get them again afterwards. Like it's a really, as we said, strange season in that regard. What do you take from those first two that you can take straight into this one, knowing it was so recent?
I think that certainly the scout for us is fresh in our minds. We did our video session this morning, and the players sort of talk through each and every play. They know their sets as well as anybody else in the league, and probably as well as we know our own. So that's certainly an advantage, I guess. It's kind of like having a little playoff series, and we've had that a little bit in the pre-season. We were stuck down in Tasmania, and we had to play New Zealand 3 times, and so we already had that sort of little miniature playoff series, and I feel like this is kind of something similar again. We had Adelaide in the 2-game series, and now we've got games 3 and 4 of a 4-game series with Perth. So I like the challenge that brings. I like the fact that from a coaching staff standpoint, we have to make adjustments. I like the fact from a playing standpoint, they have to execute those adjustments, and it tests your mettle as a defensive unit. Can you think on your feet? If you're reactionary, you get sliced to bits with Perth. So we have to make sure we're on top of our game and on top of our adjustments, and we don't break down.
You go to school on the two Bryce Cotton ball handling things late in those games. Kiefer got him in the first one, and then he had that one on the weekend. We haven't seen that from him before, and coaches are very good at picking little things apart. Is that something that you've had a really good look at and seen whether there's a weakness or whether it's just an anomaly?
It's certainly not a weakness, but it would appear in the first 3 games there's an awful lot of responsibility on Bryce to carry a heavy load right now with Perth. A couple of their primetime performers maybe haven't been on top of their game just yet, but that will turn for them for certain. And so he's probably had to assume a few more responsibilities, and he's playing high minutes, and therefore fatigue and mistakes can certainly kick in down a stretch of games. I think if you base his performances on a little bit more than just the last 2 games, you're talking about one of the most clutch players in the history of the NBL. So whilst we certainly were happy to see Kiefer be able to take advantage of one play, and I'm sure Melbourne were pretty happy to see that backcourt play as well, I wouldn't be expecting too many of those in the future for Bryce. He's too good a player. And as I said, like those other players that maybe have been a little bit down on form, they won't be down on form forever, and that will just release Bryce of a little bit of responsibility. So we expect him to be at his clutch best, and we're preparing for that.
Oh, when you look at the season, so I mentioned before the depth of scoring. How important has it been for you guys to know that you're not relying on one bloke?
Yeah, really important. Obviously, it makes us a little bit more difficult to defend and scout, because we, do have the luxury of a lot of weapons. On the weekend, we were really fortunate to have, I think, 5 or 6 guys score 15, and I think that's just a testament to our offense and how we're playing together. But as Simon has said, for us, we got to hang our heels on the other end of the floor. So if we take care of that, I think, we've definitely got the weapons offensively to put up points every night.
What should I tell you? It looked like the State Basketball Centre's got a really different sort of setup in terms of how close the crowd is, the atmosphere. It looked like would have been really difficult to play as an opponent there. Did it feel like a genuine home court advantage out there as opposed to when some of the bigger stadiums, the crowd can be a little bit further back?
Yeah, for sure. Completely. They were super loud from the tip. We'd spoke about pre-game how much, people of Melbourne and in particular the Southeast had been through COVID, the lockdowns, etc. So we wanted to come and put on a show, and they put on a show as well in terms of how loud they were. So it was amazing, and I know everyone's absolutely itching to get back here Thursday night.
So do you think you can turn that? Oh, you got the next 2 there, obviously, against Perth. Do you see that as a home court advantage now that they haven't even been there themselves yet? So is that something you have to seize upon?
Definitely. I think the crowds helps us a lot. As it does in Perth. There's the crowd's a huge part of the game and can influence momentum in certain ways. So. We take that on board, but at the same time, we're playing a championship level team. Every night they come in and they're going to put up a really good fight. So. We're ready to roll, and our home fans are too, and I think it's going to be a great game.
Very good. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Craig.
Just one for Kyle before we wrap up. Some of your biggest fans from Project Kick It, who are a range of kids fighting a range of personal health battles, were there on the weekend, who were really showing their passion for basketball and yourself again. How awesome was it to kind of be reminded in your first home game back about the impact you're making as an athlete in our community?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. Christian and Emma over at Project Kick It have been unreal. We kept in touch a lot throughout lockdown. I jumped on a few of their video calls and sent some gear off to a few of the guys and girls who work there. And yeah, it was just amazing to see everyone on the sideline. I saw Darcy dancing. I saw a few clips of him absolutely losing it, and that was cool to see. And just the energy within the crowd, and I think Project Kick It, in a way, was kind of stemming that from courtside. Their energy was really filtering through the group, and I can't wait to see them again Thursday and Sunday.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys, and good luck tomorrow night.
Cheers, mate.